Yesterday, the Wages Board was summoned under the chairmanship of the Labour Commissioner. And to give everyone a bit of context, representing the employers, there are 10 members. Representing the employees, there are 10 members. Representing the government, there are 3 members. Out of the 10 members that represent the employers, 7 of them had been present. Out of the 10 members that represent the trade union, about 9 of them were present. And all 3 government nominees were also present. Now, as per the decision taken yesterday, 1,350 rupees basic salary plus 350 rupees productivity allowance has been given. And it has been accepted even by the employers' representatives. So the vote which passed the resolution was 14:3. 14 for the 1,700 rupee sum and 3 against it. And the companies have also given their consent to this. So just to give everyone a quick brief on the background of this matter, because there have been many narratives which have been falsely portrayed. When His Excellency the President had issued a gazette under the former Minister Manusha Naikara, that gazette was withdrawn. And the reason for that was under Section 33 of the Wages Board ordinance, we had summoned the Wages Board and we had expected all members to take part. However, for quorum to be in place, for the Wages Board to take a decision, you must have 2 members from the companies, you must have 2 members from the unions, and 1 member from the government side. So the previous Wages Board sittings, the companies refused to come, citing a legal matter. They had refused to come, and the Wages Board had gone ahead with the resolution of 1,700 prior to May 1st, with the consent of the unions, of the employees, unions, and the government. So when that was contested in court, the Supreme Court had given a judgment that we cannot go ahead with this particular gazette because there is a procedural error. They did not say the 1,700 rupee cannot be given. They mentioned it's a procedural error, to rectify it and come back. And that is exactly what we did. We revoked the first gazette that was put, and we had multiple discussions with the companies. I would like to express my gratitude to the Planters Association and also the Employers Federation of Ceylon for coming forward for dialogue. And they had taken part and they had come to an agreement. And now I believe after 14 days, the gazette will be issued. In this 14-day period, we will decide on the mechanism on how the productivity allowance of 350 rupees is going to be paid. Apart from that, I would also like to say that as far as the voting was concerned, I do not wish to make this press conference a political press conference, but I think it is my duty to explain to everyone here as well. It was quite disheartening to see that companies had voted in favor of the 1,700 after much discussions, and 3 unions had opposed this. And all these 3 unions are affiliated with a presidential candidate who apparently speaks for the workers. And I've already mentioned who that is, and I do not want to mention that here. But I think as far as I'm concerned, there have been certain allegations which were put forward with relation to this Wages Board decision. Number 1 is that now the wage increase is only once in 3 years, as opposed to what it was earlier. I would like to remind everyone that earlier there was a collective agreement in place. When there was a collective agreement where CWC, LJW, and JPTUC were part of, we made sure the collective agreement resulted in a increase in wages once every 2 years. However, due to many political instigations, the collective agreement was abrogated. And once it was abrogated, we lost out on the privilege of increasing the salary once in 2 years. If you were to look at any collective agreement in any field in recent history, it is all 3 years. But we managed to keep it at 2 years. Unfortunately, now it's once in 3 years. But I would like to remind everyone that whether it's once in 2 years or once in 3 years, then the amounts will change. If we are increasing a salary for an estate worker once in 2 years, and let's say if we are increasing it by 100 rupees, then naturally once in 3 years, it will increase by 150 rupees. So whatever the calculation is, we will come down to that. And I do not wish to politicize this matter, but this is the reality of it. And the second matter that I must clarify here is the Wages Board has the mandate to only decide what the minimum wage is plus the allowance. They do not have the mandate to decide what the overkilo rate is. They do not have the mandate to decide the period in which an estate worker's or any worker's wage must be increased. And they do not have the mandate to decide terms and conditions of the said wage. But we have 14 days as the objection period. Within this 14 days, as the government and also unions will discuss with the Planters Association and the EFC, and we'll come to a mechanism on how we'd be able to make the industry survive. And once again, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank His Excellency the President Ranil Wickremesinghe and former Minister Manusha Naikara, because I think he is more or less the unsung hero of this achievement, because I know the difficulties that he had faced in obtaining this 1,700. And I personally believe that he has gone above and beyond in relation to this. And I would also like to thank the members of the cabinet who is headed by the Prime Minister.